Well, on this sort of do, you're always supposed to interview the captain, so I've got with me here Captain Christopher Wainman, who's going to tell us a little bit about the ship.
Yes, thank you very much, Arthur. Well, this is the MV Hengist, and we're currently moving along at about 15 miles an hour. Over here is the left-hand side of the boat, the front, the back, and then over there the right-hand side, or as we old sea rats call it, the offside.
And where do you navigate from?
I drive the boat from, as you'll see from my diagram here, my little office, which is just behind the chimney here.
And how long have you been a sea rat?
Well, I started in the kitchens about 15 years ago, then I moved up to Chief Pretty Officer, and then I became a purser.
To be honest, Captain Wainman, I'm a little bit confused by some of the terminology.
I love the sea, you know. The sea. Big, blue, watery stuff with little waves on top. You know, Arthur, if I had my time again, I'd quite like to be a fish. Or maybe even a piece of driftwood. I'd like to close now with a song. Those magnificent men in their flying machines, they go up.
Will you shut up, Phil? Phil, you are right over the top now. You know that, aren't you? Honestly, I asked to interview you because the captain's not available. What do I get? A bloody stupid picture, a daft song, and a load of inaccurate bullshit. Right, that's it. Henceforth, Phil, I'm doing this programme by myself. It is now called Arthur Goes Off. Phil, in the words of Rear Admiral Sir George Cunningham... No, finish, Phil, finish.
You better give me my train ticket back then.
No.
Well, that means I'll have to hitch from Folkestone.
Yeah, well, I hope you don't get a lift. And if you do, I hope it's from John Selwyn Gummer.
Right. See you then.
I hope not.
Bye.
No. Well, now we've got rid of that bald, talentless wimp, let's get on with some real investigative stuff. Boulogne makes Scunthorpe look like Monte Carlo. Well, everybody disembarking from the boat passes this statue of one of Boulogne's favourite sons, Frédéric Sauvage. Sauvage, the half-brother of Oscar Wilde, was a town councillor in early 19th century Boulogne. He doesn't appear to have achieved anything of any great note, but is remembered for his chairmanship of the town statue committee. Also, Sauvage's urine was bottled and marketed as perfume throughout northern France. So,
Arthur?
Yes?
I just wanted to apologise. I know I was a bit silly with that captain stuff and the magnificent men, and I was a bit crass and I went a bit too far. Please, can I come back on the programme, please? I promise, no more cursing.
All right, Phil. Me old mate, me old mucker. Let's forget about all that. Where do you want to go now?
Let's go to the supermarket. There are 365 cheeses in France. That's one for each day of the year. January the 1st is Abbé de Belleval. January the 2nd is Brie. January the 3rd is...
Despite this, they still can't produce one decent hard cheese.
And December the 31st is Vernalois. Now, what better to put this on than some delicious French bread or baguette? Each stick baked to perfect crispness in the early morning ovens of the local boulangerie.
Fluffy white bread, not only tasteless, but also bad for you. And it goes stale before you get it out the shop.
Le fromage, c'est bon. C'est très, très bon. C'est délicieux. C'est formidable. C'est vachement super. Oh, j'ai envie d'embrasser ce fromage. Je pleure maintenant parce que je suis... Non, je pleure avec plaisir parce que le fromage, c'est extra, c'est sans ça, sans fromage. Oh, je t'aime, fromage.
The French are, however, acknowledged to be the producers of the finest wines in the world. from the great sun-drenched wine-growing regions of France, Burgundy, Côte d'Aron, the Loire Valley, Alsace, we get such great wines as Château Latour, Château Lafite, Chablis, Beaune de Venise. The French love their wine. There are 2 million alcoholics in France and 3 million heavy drinkers. Twice as many people die here from cirrhosis of the liver than in Britain or the US, and alcoholism is the 3rd major cause of death in France.
Arthur! Arthur, quick! Come here, quick!
Sorry, mate. What? What's happened, Phil?
These tomatoes, they are lovely. Just look at the size of that. Oh.
There are 2 types of French, real French and O-level French.
Now, the first thing that you have to do when learning real French is to adopt the French pose.
Bon,
alors, je peux pas marcher, j'ai du beurre, du pain, du fromage, du lait, des choses comme ça. Ouais, non, moi, non. J'ai vu ma copine dans la rue, j'en ai ravé dans ma main.
Mais non,
mais si,
mais non,
mais si,
mais non, mais non, mais non, mais non. Bon, alors
j'ai dit, c'était pas super, moi je sais encore plus pour que ça, c'est hyper
alors là, vous avez rien, il a fait ça, encore un pinard, c'est du même jour, elle a pété les barres, il est complètement sous, je sais pas moi, je sais pas moi, je sais pas moi, je sais pas moi, je sais pas. Bon, alors, il est un mec.
There's a bloke.
Il a perdu les tétons à la main.
He's lost 2 fingers from his hand.
Paf, par terre.
Plop onto the ground.
Bon, alors, il va chez le docteur.
So good, he goes to the doctor.
Il dit, monsieur le docteur, combien ça va me coûter pour coudre les deux à la main?
He says, Mr. Doctor, how much to sew these 2 fingers back on the hand?
Alors le docteur, il dit, ça va vous coûter 1000 francs.
And the doctor, he says it's going to cost you 1,000 francs.
Mais oh là 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 là.
But oh, the. In the feminine sense of the word, of course.
Bah, ça fait trop.
But that makes too much, it makes too much.
Bon, alors finalement, il va chez un autre docteur.
So finally, he goes to another
Dans
doctor
la Old Kent Road.
in the Old Kent Road.
Bon, alors il dit, monsieur le docteur, combien ça va me coûter pour coudre de la main?
He says, Mr. Doctor, how much to sew these 2 fingers back on the hand?
Alors le docteur, il dit, ça va vous coûter 1 franc.
And the doctor, he says it's going to cost you 1 franc.
Mais c'est pas mal, ça.
But that's not bad, that.
Bon, alors, bah, vous avez une grenouille dans la gorge.
Apparently, I've got a Frenchman stuck in my throat.
Bon, alors finalement, il s'est fait coudre les deux doigts à la main.
So finally, he sews the 2 fingers back on the hand.
Et ça marche bien.
And it's marching well.
Super bien.
Super well.
Bon, alors, en sortant de chez les docteurs,
Well, leaving the doctors,
il voit le premier
he
docteur
sees the first doctor
qui voulait 1000
who
francs.
wanted 1,000 francs.
Et vous,
And he
dit-il?
says, you. Comment tu t'appelles?
Nathalie.
Ah bon, et tu es née à Boulogne?
Je suis née à Boulogne.
Ah ouais, et comment tu trouves Boulogne?
C'est une jolie ville, hein. C'est assez gai. Il y a la plage.
La
formidable.
plage. Tu vas souvent à la plage?
Je vais tous les jours à la plage.
Et qu'est-ce que tu fais là?
Je me fais bronzer. Je passe mon temps.
Et qu'est-ce qu'on fait les soirs à Boulogne?
Il faut aller au restaurant ou alors il faut aller se promener, disons, en dehors de Boulogne. Parce qu'il n'y a pas grand-chose à faire.
Ah bon? Alors où est-ce qu'il faut aller?
Il faut aller dans des petits villages où il y a des discothèques, des soirées.
Ah ah. Et t'aimes bien la France?
Oui, j'aime
T'es
bien.
fière d'être française?
Oui, je suis fière d'être française.
Pourquoi t'es fière?
Je sais pas.
Ah bon? Et tu vas en Angleterre? Tu as été en Angleterre?
Oui, je suis déjà allée. J'y retourne dans une semaine.
Ah oui? Combien de fois t'es allé là?
2 ou 3 fois.
Ah ah. Et où est-ce que tu vas quand tu rentres à Londres? Là? During the Second World War, Boulogne was flattened by Allied bombers.
Which is why most of the town is so hideous.
However, there does remain the old town, and we're taking a walk up there now. Notice, by the way, that French people don't wear stripy t-shirts and they don't hang onions and garlic around their neck.
Ah, now, this is interesting here. We see a performance in progress here, the world premiere of Samuel Beckett's latest play, Nothing Very Much at All.
We're taking a walk now up the hill, which forms part of the Boulogne Marathon. So, Arthur, shall we...
Yes, let's jog this section.
Okay. Up there in the old town, there is the favourite haunt of public schoolboys, rugby players and other low forms of life.
And it may have been up in the old town that Miles Kington first conceived his idea of franglais, surely the crappiest and least amusing series of articles ever to appear in Punch. Come on, Dave, mate.
Come on, mate.
Keep up.
Come on.
There we go, Phil. Come on, Dave. For God's sake, man.
Come on, keep up.
There we go. Now, up here we can see...
Well, here we are in Old Boulogne, and this is the chateau.
Phil, I think Dave needs to get his breath back. He's a bit knackered, actually.
That's right, he did say he was up all night last night.
Yeah, well, he had a joint on the boat over as well. I think poor bloke.
He's a drug addict, is he?
Well, he's not. He just likes to enjoy himself.
Well, here we are in Old Boulogne. This is the chateau. It was built in 1231.
But it's still not open in 1985.
And behind us, we can see the building which dominates the Boulogne skyline.
Yes, the old cathedral, which looks remarkably like St Paul's after 2 months on an F-plan diet. And this is my hand.
And Arthur's hand is now resting on the ramparts of the old town. And it probably wasn't while walking up and down these very ramparts that Napoleon first conceived his plan of invading Britain in 1803.
Napoleon was a remarkable man. As we can see from this picture of him addressing his generals, he was actually able to talk through his arse. And isn't it amazing that the greatest Frenchman who ever lived had shriveled knackers and caught leukemia off his wallpaper or something? Napoleon was defeated by Nelson, who... Phil, what's this supposed to be? Where's Nelson?
I'm sorry, Arthur, I could only get a half Nelson.
Oh, very droll, Phil, very amusing. Thank you. Nelson's lover, of course, was Emma Hamilton. And here we see the Emma Hamilton pub in Rains Park, where you can get a decent pint rather than the gassy piss that masquerades as beer here in France. And here we are, drinking some of that liquid nausea.
But Arthur, isn't it marvellous to be able to sit outside and drink?
Yeah, shame it takes 45 minutes to get served. I'll tell you what, Phil, I'm that hungry I could eat a scabby horse between 2 mattresses. I'll tell you what, why don't we go to a restaurant and have a decent meal?
Have you anywhere in mind?
Yeah, let's have a look here. There we are, La Matelotte, second most poncy restaurant in northern France. That's it, Phil. Nouvelle cuisine. We're talking 40 quid a Brussels sprout here.